My name is Hazel Adjamiwe, and my parents are missionaries. I would always say that as part of my introduction because I wouldn't have the life I have today without the whole journey. Okay, so we live in the age of the internet. So I met my husband on the internet. I met him on Facebook. So when he asked me to marry him on February 15, 2021, which was the day after Valentine's Day, I said yes, even though there was this conflict still in my mind. Yeah, I was sure that I had the assurance that he would be my husband, but I was conflicted about a lot of other things. We got married on the 4th of September, because the traditional marriage was on the 3rd of September. The church wedding was on the 4th of September, 2021. Yeah, so from the time he proposed, February 15th, we had our introduction June 19th, 2021, and then we got married September 3rd and 4th, 2021. So after the wedding, we were still on honeymoon when I noticed he was chatting with an ex-girlfriend I had complained incessantly about. Like I had told him many times, if you're so stuck up on this girl, you can go back to her. I wouldn't have a problem with it, okay? But he always said, oh no, they're just friends, nothing serious. I said, then you have to, your chats are not like people who are just friends. You know, it's not fair to me. It's disrespectful of me. And eventually he promised that, okay, he's going to cut it all off, and which he did. But while we were on honeymoon, he sent her a message. He resumed talking with her, and was trying to pacify her like, oh, no, don't worry, I'm still your guy. Even though I'm married, doesn't mean anything. And I felt hurt. Like, guy, we're on our honeymoon. Why would you do something like this? He would tell me, I'm not going to cut her off because of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me that, and I was shocked. Like, do you realize you're married now? And he said to me that the problem he has with me is that I think he can be held down by any laws. So I had to ask him, like, so the vows you took before God and man don't mean anything? He was like, it doesn't mean anything. And for whatever reason, he let it out that he didn't sign his appropriate signature on the marriage certificate.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I asked him why. Why didn't you sign your signature? He claimed, oh, he was disoriented. But I let it go. I didn't think too much on it either, because whether on the traditional or the church wedding day, he came more than 2 hours late on each of the days. And interestingly, I got pregnant immediately. That was the other thing that shocked me. He wasn't happy.
Oh, really?
Yes, he wasn't happy, yes. He said he doesn't want to have any of his children in Nigeria, and he was going on and on and on. He gave me a hard time because of the pregnancy. If he asks me for money and I tell him I don't have money to give him, he will say, and you're pregnant. We don't have money and you're pregnant. The verbal abuse went several notches higher, and then there was financial abuse. Of course, he said he's a Forex trader, but he wouldn't sit down to trade. I kept funding the Forex account. I had to be paying all the bills, and he would borrow money from whoever. He would just tell me every end of month, I'm owing this person, I'm owing that person. He was ashamed of me. He didn't want to be seen with me in public, and on this particular day, I had gone to the bank to make a complaint about my funds. So he got to the bank and we went to the supermarket, and he was obviously avoiding me. He didn't want anybody to know we were actually together. I didn't notice until we were standing in front of the supermarket and I was trying to tell the security to put the cartons together so we could get a ride to pick us up. And I was talking to him. I said, I'm baby this baby. I called him baby, and he was like, it's okay. Look at how you're just saying baby, baby, baby. Must everybody know? The only time you can see him holding my hand is if it's in the night, it's very dark, and we have to go to the junction to get something. Now, because of the emotional pressure, I started having palpitations very early in the pregnancy. As early as 4 months pregnant, I started having very serious palpitations. My feet were swollen much later, though, because the doctor didn't want to scare me. So she just gave me some very serious medical terms to explain my condition. It was after I had even had my baby, I went back to check what those terms meant medically, and I got to know that I suffered a partial stroke while pregnant because of all the emotional abuse and all verbal abuse I was going through. A prophet told him I was the one who held his destiny. That's why he's not making progress. And there was so many things he was saying. He called me a mad woman that night. He told me I was senseless. That night.
That was at the time you were pregnant.
Yes, I was about 6 months pregnant at this time. I kept waking up to cry or something. I kept having nightmares, and then I woke up the following morning, and I stood up and my left leg just wouldn't move. I thought it was a normal muscle pull. I had to sit back on the bed for some time, and I started dragging my leg, around. To move. I was dragging myself. I couldn't hold things. After that episode, I couldn't take it anymore. Now I was dealing with all these pregnancy symptoms. My head was full. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I couldn't concentrate on work. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I just knew I had had enough of it.
So tell us, how was the joy of? I know you passed through a lot of pain, which is very sad. Yeah, a sad
Yeah.
story. But what? How do you feel when you finally have this baby?
Okay, so first of all, I was shocked by her birth because everybody that saw me when I was pregnant told me I was going to have a baby boy. Even me, I just kind of accepted the fact that I was going to have a baby boy. I give birth Sunday morning and my mom says, "It's a girl." I'm like, "A girl?" I was like, "Oh, it's a girl." It's a girl. But I was unconscious. I was sleeping between consciousness and unconsciousness at the time. So for about 3 hours, I was in that phase. I was unconscious, conscious. And I was happy to hear that it was a girl because there was a post I saw him make. Somebody screenshot it and sent to me, yeah, because he had blocked me on Facebook, and where he was saying no woman can raise a male child by herself, and the boy will end up being a simp. So many, because he used to use really demeaning words. He called himself an alpha male, and any man he sees who is loving his wife and taking care of her, those are simps. And then that day I heard it's a girl. I was so happy. It's a girl. Yes, it's a girl. And when I finally became conscious and I held my baby and I looked at her, and she looked so beautiful. And the first thing I told her was, "Welcome to the world and welcome to my life." And then I told her, "Don't worry, we're going to be fine." Every day I wake up and I look at her face, I am determined to be a better person. First of all, for myself, and then for her. I want her to grow up a whole child. I want her to grow up a whole human being. I want her to see life from the point of view that no matter what life throws at you, you can face it head on and win. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't even marry him to start with. Yeah, I would make a better choice. But there was just that feeling of, oh, okay, let me give him a chance, maybe the what ifs. If I didn't marry him, maybe I'll be somewhere thinking I didn't give him a chance. I ended things unduly. Oh, I was this and that. But then I did give him a chance, and the chance I gave him was abused.
What can you say? Probably, like you say, maybe some of the things you probably didn't really pay attention to.
There's a way somebody will attack someone, and you will know that there's something fundamentally wrong with this person. If you ever see it, don't ever think it cannot happen to you. Oh, no, he's in love with me, he's not going to do it. It's a lie. He's going to do it with you. It's just a matter of time. So pay attention, because I would see the way he would respond to some people on Facebook, in the comments, and I'm like, no, you don't have to say that to this person. You don't even know who it is. This is Facebook. Just because someone is online commenting on your post, I don't think you have to talk to people like that. Now that we're in the age of social media, do not ignore what somebody posts online. It is not cruise. No, they're not catching cruise. That is who they are. It only gives light to that scripture that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. If you have not thought about it, you wouldn't be saying stuff like that online. If they can say demeaning things to another person out there, man or woman, it will get to your turn. Because whatever triggered them to say to that person, you don't know when you also do something that will trigger that same thing. So it will definitely come back to you. Another major, major red flag is if they don't have anybody they listen to. I remember, now this one was something I never paid attention to as well. He will always say, nobody can tell me what to do. Anybody who is bold enough to say, nobody can tell me what to do, run away from that person. But as long as you're human, somebody somewhere should be able to tell you what to do. Who does he or she listen to? If they don't listen to anybody, please, they're not going to listen to you. All the advice I gave to this guy, everything I said to him, whether about his business, about how nothing. He wouldn't listen. He would tell me, I'm a woman, he's a man, and he's the one who's supposed to tell me what to do. For the ladies specifically, if he's always reminding you that he's a man, no, he's insecure. Because no man will just wake up and start reminding anybody that he's a man. Yeah. When we're having maybe a disagreement and he knows I'm right, he will always end the argument with, that's how you women are. But I'm a man, you have to obey me. It's really saddening that whatever it is that he had in mind, I don't know what his expectations were, but I know that I loved him so much and this was the man I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. But that didn't happen. So even the times that I feel overwhelmed with sorrow, it reminds me, the silver lining for me is that I got a beautiful daughter out of it. I tried to imagine, what if the marriage has still ended and I didn't have a child? I don't know if I would have been able to cope with the whole grief.